What's going on YouTube? As you guys can see, I do have a different setup for today's video, and that is because in today's video I'm going to be breaking down the behind the scenes of how I shot a most recent music video titled Paper. Now for this behind the scenes breakdown of this music video, what I want to do is go over the initial idea of what I envisioned for this music video, how I plan to get the certain shots for this music video, how they were lit, how they were shot, and how they basically were constructed for each scene and location, how they were set up, everything behind the scenes that probably most of you all want to see when it comes to a actual music video set. So guys, if you would like to see a separate video that covers the color correction and color grade process, just let me know down in the comments and I will make a separate video for that for this music video. So guys, if you haven't already, go watch this music video. I will leave a link in the description. For this video, the treatment was to have a house party as the main setting, with each artist having a girl that they gravitated towards at the party. So guys, there was 3 artists featured on this song, so it was a total of 3 performance scenes with 3 girls. For each artist there would be a girl, and then there would be 1 main group performance shot including all of the artists. Now each girl would have their own vision of what getting with that artist would mean, since they knew that artist had money. So I used a close-up shot of each girl's eyes to do a quick zoom-in transition to signify their vision in their head of being with that artist and their money, kind of like a a dream sequence more or less, or like a vision of what could possibly happen if they do get with this artist. So we used 2 locations for this music video. The first location was an Airbnb, and the second location was shot at Studio Space. You can use Airbnb or a website similar to that, which is just strictly for booking gigs or music videos, which is Peerspace. I'll leave links down below on where you can actually link them up and use my code to get a discount off of using Airbnb or Peerspace. So this music video was shot on the GH5, and Creative Rhyme was the DP for this, as well as lighting, along with Visual J. I'll leave links down below to their YouTube channels. Shout out to you, C. Ryan, for getting 100,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. Congrats. C. Ryan's brother Nick handled the behind the scenes video and photos, and let's go ahead and hop into the first location and first setup for the first artist. So the first scene artist location was in the Airbnb, and it was lit using an Aperture 120D with a softbox as the key light, positioned on the left hand side diagonal from where the artist would be placed. The fill light was a Quasar Science QLED rainbow LED with the hue set to purple, and that light was positioned above them on a cheap light stand with a boom arm to extend out in different angles or positions depending on where we wanted to put the actual light. The backlight was the 2 lamps positioned on both sides of the bed, and the remaining light was coming from the Quasar fill light that we just talked about. Now for the GH5, these performances shots was a mixture of tripod and handheld shots, with the small HD serving as the external reference monitor. With each new location scene, I will try to always use my color checker to not only set a white balance, but to also get my exposure settings correct if I have the time. Otherwise, I'll use the GH5 waveform monitor, and I'll have either my zebra set for the mid skin tones or the highlights, just depending on what shot that we're going for, if there's anybody in the actual shot, or if we're just getting the location and there's not actual talent in the shot. Just depends on what you're trying to shoot. So that's why I have my zebra set for either the mids and the skin tones or the highlights. Now for the B-roll scenes of the girl solo, we actually repositioned the key light, and our fill light was now turned into the backlight directly behind the model to fill the back of the wall. The key light was directly above the girl to the left, and we turned off the lamps on both sides of the bed. We didn't need that for this shot. The B-roll was shot in slow motion, which was in 8-bit, 72 frames per second, and it was shot in Vlog, and this shot was all shot handheld, courtesy of Creative Rhyme. Now another important factor that I did want to cover real quick when it came to shooting this music video, or when you're shooting a music video in general, is establishing a dress attire or a dress code for not only the artist but the models or the other extra talent that you're having come on set, whether that be extras, models, whoever's on set. It should be established to have an actual dress attire or dress code. Now not only that, but it's also important to think about how many outfits the artist will need, how many outfits the models will need, and letting them know that beforehand within the actual treatment and pre-production process. If you don't set this up for a video like this with multiple artists, models, and extras involved, you'll have a wide variety of colorways and clothing attire when people show up, and that's just gonna cause a lot of problems, especially when you've already set up in pre-production phase how you want to light the scene. So if you have a certain colorway of how you want to actually light that location and scene, and models or artists show up with a colorway that doesn't mesh well with the actual location setting colorway, it's going to cause a lot of problems, and it's not going to come out well on video when you go to edit that music video. So for this music video, I had Molly World Casting handle all the models and extras. When dealing with a casting agent, a majority of this is handled in pre-production. I did let her know the main looks that I was going for, the kind of vibe of the actual song, the treatment. I sent her that as well. And I let her know that I wanted the models in cocktail dress attire. It was a house party, but I wanted it more of like an elegant kickback house party, not like a, you know, high school house party when people are just in casual attire, and it just would cause for a lot of problems when showing up on set when everybody's going to show up in different kind of outfits. So I wanted it to be a main thing where people were dressed up in similar outfits, and that was for the models and the extras. I chose to do a cocktail style dress attire. For the artists themselves, I actually had them still have some type of white colorway for the actual first location, which was the house party. I did send reference photos on the type of white cocktail dress that I was thinking of to Molly, so that she could send this to the models so that they would have the right kind of attire when showing up on set. So keep that in mind when you're shooting music videos, especially with models. It will help when you go to light and shoot your music video, which will then help in the post-production process and get your editing done way quicker. Now, the remaining scenes we shot at the first location was B-roll related scenes, and the setup of each girl with each artist before they had their vision of what being with them would be like. So since this was a house party, I did have a kitchen scene with the extras toasting up, partying, drinking, while the main models and the 3 artists were in the dining room area playing beer pong. Lighting these scenes, I only used one light, which was the Aperture 120D and softbox. The rest of the lighting was from the house lights between the kitchen and the dining room. Now, C. Ryan did set up his shoulder rig for these shots with the focus wheel so that he could pull focus on the rig while he held the rig with one hand and then focus pulled on the other hand. A majority of these B-roll scenes were shot in slow motion. Again, I believe it was 8-bit 72 frames per second in Vlog. So the artist for this first location was asked to have on some type of white attire so that they could match up to the models and the extras who were coming in with the cocktail dresses in white. So the artists all had on white t-shirts, so that blended in well for the actual music video. So for the second location, which was shot at Studio Space in Studio One, we had 3 scenes. 2 scenes was for the artist model performance and B-roll, and then 1 scene was serving as the main group performance shot with all of the artists on camera performing each of their verses for cutaway scenes to be used in the editing process, as well as slow motion shots with the group. So for the first scene setup, it was the next artist performance in B-roll. This lighting setup was a combo of an Aperture 120D serving as the key light and 3 Quasar tube LEDs as the backlight, with one of the quasars being the rainbow LED set to a different hue than the 2 quasars, and this was positioned above on the top of the setup, while the other 2 quasars were on the left and right hand side of the poles. Now, to set this up, we had 2 C-stands with boom arms setting up, connecting, and touching each other. From there, myself, C. Ryan, and Jay duct taped the boom arms together and taped a Quasar LED on each side of the C-stand, and then placed the Quasar rainbow LED on the top, duct taped that in the midpoint between the boom arms, and that's how we set up the lighting for that part. So the artist model was to be placed directly in front of this fixture. The key light was again the Aperture 120D with the softbox attachment, and this was positioned on the left-hand side. The artist was free to wear any attire, and the model for this location were still told to have a cocktail style skirt or dress, but it could be a different colorway aside from the white that was at the first location. Now, shooting wise, C. Ryan shot this again with the shoulder rig for both the performance and the B-roll scenes. Now, the second setup was for the final artist and model performance solo scenes. This was set up by bringing in a foreign car and placing the 2 quasars on each side of the car, and then placing the RGB quasar in front directly below the grill of the car. Again, the Aperture 120D served as the key light diagonal left of the artist. We had a service ladder that we did get from Studio Space, and we brought that in, and actually C. Ryan had the idea to stand on top of the ladder and then shoot directly down while the artist looked up performing for that actual spot in the music video. So shooting wise, while C. Ryan was up on this ladder, he did use the shoulder rig mount that we did see in the first location with the follow focus pull, and he did shoot that shooting directly down at the artist while the artist looked directly up. So for the last shots of the night, which was the group performance scene, we did keep the car in place, and we brought the Aperture 120D directly in front of the artist to be used as the key light. Now the Quasar tubes were positioned behind the car on both sides as the backlight, and we did run an RE Fresno from studio space. I don't remember if it was a 150, 300, or 650 watt RE. I don't remember it right now, but it was one of those RE lights that we did use from studio space that you can rent when you're at a space like that. They do have lighting on hand that you can rent from them. You just need to let them know what kind of lighting or kind of look that you're going for, and most of the people that work there are very knowledgeable in that, so they will be able to let you know what kind of lights you need to rent from them. Now the RE was used for a swinging motion to come in and out of the side of the camera to create a lens flare or light leak while the performance shots were going on. And C. Ryan chose to shoot this with not only a mixture of tripod and handheld shots, but also with the shoulder rig mount as well. So guys, this is going to be how each scene and location was not only set up, but how it was also lit and shot as well. If you guys would like to see a breakdown of how I color corrected and color graded this video, let me know down in the comments below, and I will make a separate video showing my process coloring this music video correction wise and grading wise in DaVinci Resolve, and then I brought the color clips into Premiere Pro. So if you want to see a whole breakdown video on that, let me know down in the comments, and I will make a separate video going into detail how I did color correct and color grade for this music video. Now guys, if you did like this video and you want to see more breakdowns like this for my music video sets, like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and as well as to all the people that haven't subscribed, smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all the content that is coming to this channel. Until next time guys, see y'all later.